The call came in just after sunrise. Two adult sisters stood on the front porch, pale and rigid, their voices barely steady enough to explain why they were there. They hadn't slept. Their clothes looked thrown on in a hurry. One of them kept rubbing her hands together as if trying to wipe something off that wasn't there. They said they hadn't heard from their mother in weeks. At first, that wasn't unusual. Their mother liked her space. She didn't call every day. She didn't explain herself. But then the excuses started piling up. Texts that didn't sound like her. Calls that went straight to voicemail. A sudden silence that felt wrong. The older daughter finally said the words she had been holding back. "We think something is in the garage." Police followed them back to the house. It looked ordinary. Quiet street. Trim lawn. Nothing broken. Nothing forced. The garage door was closed. One daughter hesitated before pressing the button, like she was crossing a line she couldn't uncross. The door groaned open slowly, revealing a cluttered space filled with storage bins, tools, old furniture, and boxes stacked too neatly for a place that was supposed to be ignored. There was a smell. Not overwhelming, not obvious, just enough to make one officer pause and look again. In the back corner, behind a row of plastic containers, sat a large storage bin taped shut. The younger daughter stared at it without blinking. Her voice came out flat. That one wasn't there before. When officers opened the container, the garage seemed to shrink around them. Inside was the body of a woman wrapped carefully, deliberately, not hidden in panic, hidden with intention. The daughters broke down in different ways. One cried openly, collapsing against the wall. The other stood frozen, eyes fixed on the floor, as if she had already grieved weeks ago and had nothing left. Paramedics confirmed what everyone already knew. She had been dead for some time. There were no immediate signs of a struggle in the garage. No blood, no chaos. Just a body placed where someone believed it would stay undiscovered. Inside the house, police began reconstructing the last weeks of the woman's life. Her bedroom was untouched. Her purse sat on the dresser. Her phone was gone. Neighbors said they hadn't seen her lately but assumed she was traveling. A few mentioned arguments, raised voices late at night. A family that seemed tense but private. Financial records showed missed payments. Utilities were overdue. Something had changed. Detectives learned that the mother had been living with one of the daughters temporarily. There had been disagreements about money, control, and independence. Text messages retrieved from cloud backups painted a picture of escalating tension. The mother wanted to leave. She wanted her own space back. She wanted access to her finances. The replies became colder, shorter, defensive. As questioning continued, the sisters' stories began to drift apart. One insisted she had been out of town when their mother disappeared. The other said she assumed their mother had moved on her own. But timelines didn't match. Security footage from nearby stores showed one daughter buying large plastic bins, heavy-duty tape, and cleaning supplies. Receipts were dated days after the mother was last seen. When confronted, she said it was for organizing, for spring cleaning. Her voice cracked halfway through the explanation. Investigators noticed scratches on her forearms. She claimed they came from moving furniture. An autopsy revealed the cause of death was not an accident. The injuries suggested a confrontation, a sudden escalation, not planned in advance, but not entirely out of control either. The medical examiner noted defensive wounds, the kind that happen when someone realizes too late that the person standing in front of them is no longer listening. When police brought the daughters in separately, the truth finally surfaced in fragments. A fight that started as an argument. Words said that couldn't be taken back. A push, a fall, panic, fear of consequences, fear of losing everything. One daughter admitted she helped after the fact. She didn't cause the death, she said, but she didn't stop what came next. Together, they decided not to call for help. Together, they moved the body. Together, they convinced themselves they could manage the situation. Days turned into weeks. Silence became routine. The garage became something they avoided thinking about, until they couldn't anymore. In the end, it wasn't guilt that brought them to the police. It was exhaustion. The weight of carrying a secret that changed every moment of their lives. The house that once felt familiar became unbearable. Every sound felt like exposure. Every knock felt like the end. When the truth finally came out, there was no relief. Only the realization that some decisions don't fade with time. They wait exactly where you leave them. The garage door closed again that afternoon, but nothing inside the house would ever be shut away the same way. The legal process moved slowly, as it always does, but the story spread fast. Neighbors stood in small groups, whispering versions of what they thought had happened. Some said they always sensed tension in that house. Others insisted the family seemed normal, polite, forgettable. The garage was cleaned, the tape removed, the container gone, yet people still avoided looking at it when they walked past. Ordinary places have a way of changing once the truth passes through them. During interviews with prosecutors, the daughters spoke less about the moment itself and more about what came before. Years of pressure, living arrangements that were supposed to be temporary but never ended, arguments that started small and stayed unresolved. The mother had been strong-willed, independent, unwilling to surrender control of her life. The daughters described feeling trapped between duty and resentment, love and anger. None of it excused what happened. It only explained how something unthinkable became possible. Evidence filled the gaps they left behind. Phone data confirmed their movements. Financial records showed a quiet struggle over money and authority. Messages revealed a growing desperation on all sides. The case no longer felt like a mystery. It felt like a slow collapse that no one interrupted. In court, the daughters avoided each other's eyes. Their bond, once tight enough to share a secret like death, now seemed fragile, almost non-existent. When sentencing came, the room was silent. There were no dramatic reactions, no shouting, just the sound of consequences settling into place. Outside, reporters summarized the case in a few sharp lines, reducing years of family history to a headline. Inside, a judge spoke about responsibility, about choices made when there was still time to choose differently. After it was over, the house went back on the market. Fresh paint, new locks, a listing that mentioned nothing about the garage. Someone else would live there someday, unaware of the decisions that once filled those walls with fear and silence. But for the daughters, the story never truly ended. They had led police to the truth, but they would spend the rest of their lives carrying what they didn't stop, what they helped hide, and what could never be undone.